A black rhinoceros is feeding quietly among the shrubs. Its hooked upper lip pulls leaves from a branch. Its ears turn, then settle. Its head remains low. Somewhere beyond the vegetation, a person is moving closer. The rhinoceros has not seen the approach. It has not raised its head. But the small bird on its back has stopped feeding. The red-billed oxpecker straightens. Its bill leaves the folds of the rhino's skin. Its head turns toward the movement hidden beyond the grass. Then the bird calls. Almost immediately, the rhinoceros freezes. Its ears rotate. Its head rises. The giant turns and begins to move before the approaching person enters its view. What did the bird detect that the rhinoceros missed? And how can one small call change the behavior of an animal thousands of times heavier? To understand what happened, we must first look at the unusual position from which the bird watches the world. The black rhinoceros moves through dense vegetation with enormous physical power. But power does not make every danger easy to detect. While browsing, the rhino's attention is often close to the plants in front of its mouth. Branches, leaves, wind, insects, and its own movement all fill the surrounding soundscape. Above that moving body, the oxpecker experiences the same landscape differently. The bird did not arrive to become a guard. It came for food. Ticks and other feeding opportunities can be found in the folds of the rhinoceros's skin. The oxpecker walks across the back, neck, and shoulders, searching one patch at a time. But every feeding position also becomes an observation post. From the rhino's back, the bird may see above some of the grass. It can turn quickly. It can scan in several directions. And if a disturbance becomes dangerous, it can leave in an instant. The lookout never volunteered for the job. It came for breakfast. The rhinoceros and the oxpecker are therefore sharing more than a body. They are sharing information, even when neither animal intends to cooperate. The rhino monitors the world from ground level. The bird monitors it from above. One animal is focused on branches and leaves. The other repeatedly moves between feeding and watching. Neither has perfect awareness. But together, they do not experience the landscape in exactly the same way. Now the distance begins to close. A human approaches through the vegetation. The person remains unconcealed, but shrubs and tall grass still interrupt the view. The rhinoceros continues browsing. The oxpecker continues probing through the skin. Wind moves across the savanna. Leaves tear beneath the rhino's lip. The bird's bill works between the folds. Then the rhythm changes. The bill stops. Before there is an alarm call, there is silence. The oxpecker raises its head. Its body becomes more upright. Its attention shifts away from food and toward the approaching disturbance. This may be the first visible sign that the bird has detected something important. Then comes the sound. A sharp alarm call breaks across the rhino's back. The bird is not required to understand the danger facing its host. It may simply be reacting to a threat that could endanger the bird itself. But the rhinoceros can still use that reaction. The giant pauses. Its ears rotate. Its head rises above the shrubs. Feeding ends. The rhinoceros has received information, but not a complete explanation. The call does not appear to tell it exactly where the approaching person is located. In controlled approaches, alerted rhinos did not turn directly toward the human. They tended to face downwind. The bird had supplied the warning. The rhinoceros still had to search for the source. This is what makes the system more sophisticated than a simple signal followed by an automatic escape. The oxpecker does not give the rhino a map. It gives the giant a reason to start looking. Researchers tested this relationship in Hluvuva Imfolozi Park in South Africa. Over 27 months, they followed black rhinoceroses and conducted 86 controlled, unconcealed human approaches involving 11 animals. Some rhinoceroses carried resident red-billed oxpeckers. Others did not. The difference was striking. Without oxpeckers, the rhinoceroses detected the approaching person in only 23% of the trials. When oxpeckers were present and gave alarm calls, detection rose to 100%. The birds also changed how early the rhinoceroses reacted. Without their warning, the average detection distance was about 27 meters. With alarm-calling oxpeckers, it increased to about 61 meters. That is more than twice the distance. And the pattern became stronger as the number of birds increased. Each additional resident oxpecker was associated with roughly 9 more meters of detection distance. A few small passengers could create a larger circle of awareness around the giant. The researchers also found that oxpeckers enabled rhinoceroses to avoid being found in a substantial share of encounters. But the experiment did not show that the birds can identify every kind of danger. The approaching disturbance was human. The host was the black rhinoceros. The birds were red-billed oxpeckers. The result should not automatically be extended to white rhinoceroses, lions, hyenas, or every alarm call heard in the savannah. Its power comes from being specific. Under these tested conditions, the presence and alarm calls of oxpeckers dramatically improved the rhinoceros's ability to detect approaching people. How does the rhinoceros know that the sound matters? The study cannot place a human explanation inside the animal's mind, but the behavior is consistent with eavesdropping. Over repeated encounters, a rhinoceros may associate the bird's alarm call and sudden movement with a nearby disturbance. The call happens directly on its body or only a short distance away. Ignoring it may carry a greater cost than pausing to investigate. The rhinoceros does not need to understand the bird's intention. It only needs to recognize a pattern. This relationship is reflected in a traditional Swahili name for the red-billed oxpecker, Askari wa Kifaru, the rhino's guard. The name describes the effect beautifully. But even this should not turn the bird into a willing soldier. The oxpecker is not standing watch because it has made a promise to the rhinoceros. It is feeding, scanning, calling, and escaping according to its own needs. The benefit to the rhino emerges from that self-preserving behavior. That possibility has conservation importance. Researchers have suggested that restoring oxpeckers to black rhinoceros populations, where the birds have disappeared, could help restore this anti-human warning relationship. But an oxpecker is not a replacement for rangers, monitoring, habitat protection, or anti-poaching work. A bird can provide information. It cannot provide complete security. Back in the vegetation, the disturbance has passed. The black rhinoceros has moved toward clearer ground. For a moment, the oxpecker remains upright and alert. Then ordinary sounds return. Insects resume their steady pulse. The rhinoceros lowers its head and begins browsing again. The bird lowers its red bill toward the folds of the giant's skin. The warning system disappears as quickly as it appeared. Both animals return to their separate needs. The red-billed oxpecker does not need to understand the rhinoceros's danger. It does not need to choose heroism. It only needs to detect a disturbance and react. The black rhinoceros survives the moment by listening to that reaction. In the wild, survival does not always depend on seeing danger first. Sometimes it depends on recognizing the moment another animal has already seen it. The giant does not escape because the smallest animal fought the danger. It escapes because the smallest animal spoke first.